Now then, I've had a question from a subscriber regarding how to set up TV and internet in the van. So thanks John, it's a great question. I remember being puzzled by this one at the start, but it's pretty easy once you've seen it. So let me run through my setup for you and I'll tell you which mobile network I think is the best one. And I've got a little bonus JD tip for you, so you've always got something to rely on if all else fails. Alright, come on then. Right, well first of all, this is a 22-inch TV. It's a 12-volt TV, okay? So the power lead has a cigarette lighter style end on it. You'll see in a minute. But first things first, before I even mention the internet, I can just watch this TV the old school way by finding the freeview channels from a little TV aerial that I've got on the roof there. Yeah, back when I was building the van and I had access to the roof, I drilled a hole, fed a coax cable through, and it's connected to a little TV aerial up there. It has a strong magnetic base and a removable antennae which just screws in and out when you need it. Yes, I've been really impressed with that aerial. Even though it's small, it's bloody great. And you just have to do a rescan every time you're in a different area, you know. But it seems to pick up a bunch of channels all the time. It's not just one or two. It's really good. And yeah, just a side note, I think the fact that it is magnetic is what makes it work somehow. Like if I go lift it off the roof, this picture should go off, watch. Keep watching.
There was so much tennis out there to lock that.
When the draw comes out, there'll be plenty of big name players hoping they don't get.
Yeah, you see what I mean? So that's crucial to it somehow. And to be honest, I don't use the aerial that often, but nevertheless I am really glad that I installed it at the time while I had the chance. It's a nice easy option to have now and again. No, the main way I watch things in here is by using a Fire Stick, and I think a lot of people do the same these days. Yeah, I've got a Fire Stick plugged into the back of this TV here, and it essentially turns your basic TV into a smart TV, doesn't it? You know, you've got your catch-up services, and you've got Netflix if you're into that thing, and then obviously you've got YouTube there, which for me is the most important. I can get on YouTube all the time in here. But as you know, a Fire Stick is no good without the internet, is it? So how do I do that bit? Well, to get the internet in here, I have a gadget which lives on the top of my cupboard here, look. There we are. This is a netgear aircard. I'll put the model number on screen so you know which one I'm using. And this is a 4G mobile data wireless router. Yeah, it's very similar to your mobile phone. You buy a SIM card with some gigabyte allowance on it, maybe unlimited if you use a lot of it, and put your SIM card in the back of here. And then it essentially acts like a router in what's in your own house. It beams out a little Wi-Fi network in the van for you to connect things to. So I can connect my phone to it and my laptop if I want. And crucially, my Fire Stick connects to this as well. So that's how it gets its internet. You might be able to get by just fine by having a device like this in your van somewhere on the side doing its stuff. The signal might be okay. But the way I think about it is, once I close these doors, I'm effectively in a metal tin can here, and it might struggle to get a signal sometimes. So to give myself the best chances, I've installed a mobile data antennae, which is on the van, which is what these cables are you can see coming through here. Yeah, here look, this is the Puck 2 antennae. It's really low profile, easy to fit. It just involves drilling another hole through the roof for the two antennae cables to come through, which I ran over towards my cupboard area over here. And then you just screw the locking nut up to hold it all nice and tight. Now, important point to be aware of with these, those two antennae cables which you've just seen me poke through the van. Here look, this is the end of them coming through. Now these plug into the bottom of this device here, as like so. I hope you can see that, but on the bottom there is two ports for the antennae to go in, left and right. And that one in the middle is the standard USB charging cable, which powers the device. That's the other cable you can see there. Now when I think back to trying to find one of these, I remember having a tricky time finding a device like this with the ports on the bottom. A lot of them don't support an antennae, and they don't come with the ports underneath. They're just designed to do the signal on their own strength, if you like. So be mindful of that if you're looking. Really double check the pictures and see if you can see these ports underneath. I remember it being a bit tricky. Yeah, I think I eventually found this on eBay, so I was lucky enough to get one. So as I said, this just lives on the top here. So I'll plug the antennae cables into it, and the power lead is always into it as well. So it's always charged. I don't have to worry about it at all. And it just goes in there and it tucks away on the top like so. And it just serves me well. It just does its job without me even seeing it. And if you'd like a closer look at how I did the cables inside there and hid them all at the top, just head to my van series. It's on episode number 10. You get a real good look of the top of the cupboard there and how I did it. All right. Well then, that's a good little roundup of my setup there. But regarding mobile networks, which make it all possible. Now, my testing ground for this, my experience, if you like, is in the Lake District. So make of that what you will. But I'll tell you what I think. Now, I've had a bit of time using O2, and then I've also moved on to ID Mobile, which uses the 3 network. So I've tried O2 and a bit of 3 as well over some time. And what would I say? I would say it was pretty good, but I definitely had a lot of days when I had no signal on this Netgear aircard here. It wasn't working. And that happened quite a few times. I would look at it and think, oh, it's not picking anything up. And then I tried another network and I noticed a massive difference. And that network is the EE network. Yeah, I tried it again. I got another SIM card with the EE network, or more specifically, I use Lyca Mobile, right? Lyca Mobile, I think they are brilliant. They're pretty cheap and competitive, and importantly, they run on the EE network, you see. So you get best of both worlds. I think you get a decent price, and I think the EE network is fantastic coverage. It seems, in my experience anyway. So EE gets my vote for best network. Well, that's about it from me, but I have got a final JD tip for you if you're still there and listening. Yeah, if everything fails on me, TV aerial's not working, internet connection no good, I have got an ultra backup plan for times like that, and it's here. Utilise the USB port on the back of the TV with a memory stick. Yeah, I've got a little memory stick plugged in the back here with a few things loaded up onto it, a few old movies, a couple of TV series, I think, just enough to get you by. So if I go onto USB mode on the TV, yeah, and for example, I've got a full series of Futurama loaded up on here. I know it's a bit random, but one day it might just come in. You know, if I'm ever stuck, I've always got something to watch if I need to. There you go. So that's my JD tip for you. Remember the USBs there as well. All right. Well, that's my TV setup for you. If it has been helpful, let me know by pressing the thumbs up button. Nice one. And if you've got any other nagging questions about this kind of stuff, just ask away down below. I'll get back to you best I can. No worries. And I've got a bunch of other helpful videos on the channel, so make sure you look out for them. Alright, I'm going to sign off on this one then for now. Until next time. Thanks very much for watching, and take care of yourselves. And I will see you down the road. Alright. I remember being puzzled by this one at the start, but it's pretty easy. Forget that one, that's rubbish. We'll go again. A Fire Stick is no good without the internet, is it? So how do I... I've hooked up a mobile data antennae. Yeah, if everything fails, TV aerial's not... I've got an ultra... And it's here. It's a USB... No. Until next time. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you. No, forget that one. Until next time. No, thanks very much for watching, and take care of you. No, that wasn't quite right.